friends. I'm Legia here at New York City Comic Con. With me is the amazing Ram V, and this is ComicsVerse. So, I've been on Unbound, perusing through some of your new pages for Graffiti's Wall.
Yeah.
Now, it's really beautiful. I love it. I'm so excited for your story. What was the inspiration behind it?
Well, my first self-published book was called Black Mamba, and it was a story set in Mumbai, crime noir, kind of black and white, grim story, if you will. And when the editor from Unbound approached me and she said, we want you to do another Mumbai story, I was like, I don't want to repeat myself, so I'm going to do one that is absolutely exploding with color and life, and is a much more lighthearted, much more upbeat take on Mumbai. And so Graffiti's Wall kind of grew from there. I was talking to the artist Anand Radhakrishnan at the time, and my letterer Aditya Bidikar, and we were talking about street art in Mumbai, which was a relatively new thing at the time. It's now gone crazy all over the place, but we wanted to do something centered around the idea of kids kind of growing up in rough neighborhoods in Mumbai, if you will. And so that became the inspiration for the story.
So that's really cool. Is some of the art from the book things that you actually have seen in Mumbai, or is it like stuff you kind of would think would be there? Or?
No, I mean, I grew up in the city, and so did Anand. Anand's from Mumbai, so it's definitely very rooted in a sense of place in terms of the sights and sounds, even in terms of cultural markers. Like, I always give this example. When you go to a cigarette shop in Mumbai, they don't hand you lighters or they don't give you matches. They have a thing on the wall where you push a switch and it lights up an electric filament, and you use that to light your cigarette. I have not seen that anywhere else in the world, and Anand's managed to get that into one of the frames in the comic. So that kind of cultural authenticity is definitely there in the comic.
Say, that sounds really awesome, actually. Now, I know that you've got a couple other projects going at the same time. Another one that's coming up, and I don't know how much you can talk about it, but Batman Secret Files. Now, secret, right? Now, I just want to tell you, I know that I believe that you're the first Indian writer for Batman?
So, yeah.
Okay, well, I just need to tell you that I am really happy and so proud to see another. Well, it's really great to see yourself represented because, I'm also Southeast Asian.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, so it's I don't get to see very many creators that are in the field.
It's been a thing. I've been, so many people have gotten in touch with me, that weren't even into comics as a culture, but they've just gotten in touch to be like, this is so cool. It's amazing to see someone who grew up in the same cities that I grew up, who had the same life that I had, is now writing Batman, who was always this, as a character, all the kids in India definitely read Batman and Superman, but they never get to see their views or their culture represented in any way. I'm not saying that I'm going to take Batman to India and he's going to do stuff there, but it's whatever stories I write are going to be steeped in my cultural background, and so just to have that, I think is a great thing. I think in 2018, superheroes really belong to the world. They're no longer just American creations. They represent so many aspirations and so many feelings that people have around the world are represented through these superheroes when kids are growing up. And I think it's a great thing to have that opportunity opened up to the rest of the world as well.
No, I absolutely agree, and I'm excited to see it because I was wondering what new things you could bring to Batman. He's been around for almost 80 years,
Yeah.
Now, I know you've got another project. These have a choice. Now, I know that you're using both vampirism and colonization together, which is kind of an interesting mixture.
Yeah.
What is the creative process for that like?
To be honest, I had the idea when I was researching Indian mythology. And I found out that the Rakshas mythology in India predates the vampire mythology by about 2 centuries, if you will. And that I had that idea rolling around in my head. And then I was looking at a period drama set in London called Taboo. I don't know if you've heard of it. But it looks at the East India and their and the sort of colonial history of that company. And the 2 ideas just seemed to click in my head. And I went, wait, I could do a thing that uses vampirism as a metaphor for colonialism. And it just kind of, I mean, once you have an idea like that and it takes root in your head, you really don't need to do much driving. It drives itself.
So that's really awesome. I do have another question, and it's about, now I know that you're from Mumbai, as you said, and I know that you've actually created a handful of comics there.
Yep.
And I was wondering what you feel the difference is between comics that are created in India versus comics created that are more Americanized. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, India has a really rich history and a really rich mythology. So a lot of comic books that are created in India really focus on Indian mythology and history and myth. But I feel like they tend to be things that are trying to do what American comics are trying to do. Which is interesting. It's a good way to get started for a new creator in India, but I think what I'm seeing now is Indian creators really letting go of that colonial baggage and letting go of trying to emulate American comics and just telling quintessentially Indian stories. I'd also like to see people exploring more of what modern India is like, which people don't, because it's such a cultural thing for us to have these like incredible mythological epics in our history. So I guess that's the biggest difference, at least in terms of content. In terms of production quality, I think India is quite a few years behind America and Europe as a comic book industry. And so I think there's a lot more work to be put in by publishers and distributors to create books that are of the kind of quality that you would expect to see around here.
Absolutely. Now, if the viewers were interested in looking for a comic series or a creator that was Indian or was made in India, do you have any recommendations for where they could start searching? Because it's a little tricky.
Tons. There's a company called Kokachi in India, and they do really, really interesting books. As far as creators, there's Kishore Mohan, Mukesh Singh, Apu Pen. There's all you need to do is Google Indian comics and you will have a ton of recommendations on there. But there are definitely people doing very interesting stuff. Most of my collaborators that I work with are all creators in Indian comics. So Sumit Kumar, Rosh, these are all people that I was newer to Indian comics than these guys. So Graphic India is another company that is doing some interesting work. Holy Cow is doing interesting work in India. So yeah, lots of. There's definitely interest and work out there. All you need to do is, pull up a Google page and look for it.
Awesome. I'm going to have to search up some more comics now. Now, are there any other series or things that you're working on or coming up that you can mention here so people can keep an eye open for them?
I've got 3 things that I can't talk about. These Savage Shores continues though, and I've got. Actually, no, I can't really talk about anything because there's definitely 3 things that are going to be announced soon, but I can't really talk about them just yet.
So that's okay, I understand. We'll keep our eyes open for them, though, definitely. Well, thank you so much for your time. I loved your answers, loved the questions. Thank you so much. And thank you for watching. For more comic book interviews and news, visit ComicsVerse.com.